Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Lorethrough. Today we are doing episode 42, and it's been about a week since I last recorded. My new living situation kind of makes it so that if I want to record, I get about one solid 4-hour block a week currently, unless I make some sort of adjustment. I hope to find some more time to record, because that means I have to be very on point and record 7 or 8 episodes in that block. But that's fine. Today we are going to continue along the eastern edge of Liurnia. And we're going to start with the Eastern Tableland is what it's called. Okay. I believe I've shown off the siege engines before. With the critical attack you can do above in its exhaust vent there. Slaying them. I'm curious to know which faction they're for, because they're these big old demon heads, right? Demon, like Japanese demons, like Onis or something, and they spew fire. And we've seen some working with the Knights of the Cuckoo, and we've also seen others working with, well, these fellows here. Ooh. Oh. My goodness. There we go. I thought I'd give it a try. I don't even know if you can parry their thing. Probably. Come on. Do it again. I want to try. I can't parry a shove. Oh, you can. Okay. I figured you would be able to. I've just never bothered in my whole life. So interesting. They have these barricades all around, of course, with their camp, which makes it a little less temporary of a camp, at least considering the manpower they have with them. I guess they have a few roaming bands, so maybe they have far more men than I'm able to see presently. And they set up these really bizarre stakes. They look like braided vines of thorns. Somebody got a message all the way on that spear pole. That's funny. And I'm trying to remember if there's anything worth looting in this camp. I think there is. Oh, yeah. Flame cleanse me. Let's take a look at that while we are here. One of the incantations of the fire monks creates a fire within that burns away toxins, alleviates poison and scarlet rot buildup, and cures these ailments. This incantation leaves the caster with subtle burns, a reminder that they must fear the flame. So that even though the flame is a bonus for them, a net gain, it doesn't come without negatives. Which is kind of neat. Gives you a little viewpoint on their philosophy. And we find over here on this lone I don't know, lesser fire monk over here. I forget what they're called. We find the Briars of Sin sorcery, which is a very unique sorcery because it requires only faith, 24 points. An aberrant sorcery discovered by exiled criminals. Theirs are the sorceries most reviled by the Academy. Wounds the caster with thorns of sin, creating a spiral of blood thorns. This sorcery can be cast repeatedly, up to 3 times. The guilty, their eyes gouged by thorns, lived in eternal darkness. There they discovered the Blood Star. It's kind of interesting. They had the thorns over there. So there must be something to deal with thorns. That has to deal with the iconography and belief system of the fire monks. Okay. I think we're good to head to the next grace. It kind of makes me wonder what else that ties into, because let's see, there was the exiled penal colony penal colony soldiers, excuse me, in Stormvale Castle with their red hoods, their chainmail, and of course their thorns and their briars wrapped around their armor and on some of their weapons and on their shields most notably. Alright, take a sit down here. It is also very interesting now I think about it. Oh, What's down here? There they discovered the Blood Star. Okay, so we know that the study of sorcery, by and large, is a form of astrology. They're looking at the stars. Maybe it's closer to astronomy, I'm not sure. I think they call it astrology, because there's the astrologists, yeah. Here we have a big old boy out front. I should use a big weapon. But what big weapon shall I use? Why not the Great Mace? I like this thing. Hey buddy, don't mind me. Oh, Great Maces are so good. So very helpful. The big bonk. Look at that. The fight's already over. There we go. Then again, he also has unprotected ankles. So here we see another dome. Like with the one we saw in the, above the Siofra River in the Mistwood of Limgrave. And we see it's got this kind of dark stone coloration, kind of like the Wizard Towers a little bit. That there are these icons, though, that look like it's probably a lion. Kind of looks just like a cat head. I'm assuming that the leaves around it are supposed to be the mane in the icon, though. Yeah, makes me wonder what the tie-in is there. Because lions are, of course, the icon of the Lord Godfrey, because his war counselor was Serosh. Or his counselor. I don't think they specify war counselor, right? But we've also seen, oh, my train of thought just went out. It's been a while since I've recorded. And so I need to get back in the swing of things, and I want to get back in the habit of recording more often, because I felt like when I recorded more often, my thoughts were connected, better connected between episodes. Well, let's head down here to the Ainsel River. Very good. So this is very different already from the Siofra. When we went down into the Siofra, we saw beautiful ruins, a starry night sky, and we also saw foliage, plants, claymen. We come down here, and it's just kind of a cave. It's kind of funny how there's this beam of light, as if that went all the way to the surface, but we went way too far down for that to be reasonable, and there's no way there was any hole anywhere over here. Not conceivably, especially off in that direction. I guess maybe. No. The hole would need to be like here-ish. Not all the way out here, given the angle. Yeah, I'm probably thinking too hard. But we do see these very ornate pillars, and they're a smidge different from anything we've seen thus far. I can't think of many places where these particular pillars are used. But at the bottom here, there's coffins. Wood ones, stone ones, all strewn about and emptied, strangely enough. And there's just all these bodies. Honestly, they look charred to me. I guess they could have been... Yeah, they look shrunken. Charred, as if they've lost all their moisture, so... They don't look like they've been eaten outright. Unless those ants on the wall over there eat them in a peculiar fashion. But we'll be back for them. Don't you worry none. We will be blasting some ants. I know all of you come to this YouTube channel solely to watch me blast away ants. For my iconic content of pouring molten silver into an anthill and unearthing it to create a very strange Christmas tree-like design upside down. It's why you're here. You're probably hugely disappointed in me for not making more of that content. Alright, I'll grab a real weapon. Not that. He got a little confused there for a moment. He was looking off to the side like, why am I doing this? Let's give him a good old pew. Ah, yes, I have Swift Glidstone Shard now. That's something I need to show off. Yeah, I reorganized my spell bar, specifically for use in PvP. I haven't done the PvP on this character yet, but... yeah, you can use it while jumping and sprinting. I love Swift Glintstone Shard. Because a lot of the other spells are a lot easier to dodge, I like this one in particular because you can get little chip damage. It's like the wizard's equivalent of a homing throwing knife. But it's useful because it's on the cheap. And you can see me do stuff like that. Oh. I had to free aim that one. It wasn't letting me lock on. Maybe I need to get closer. But yeah. And the interesting thing is that these ants are giant, for one, and they have barbs at the end of their tail. I'm not aware of many ants in the region in which I live having barbs at the end of their tail. Yeah, this guy's here to be a sneaky. Ooh. I'm trying to learn how to angle that, because there's a thing you can do with this type of greatsword that has this attack pattern, where it swings on either side of you. Where if you make sure the end of your first swing... oh, I messed that up. Where the end of your first swing and the start of your next swing are on the same side of your body, like the left side, so I end over there and start on the same side, then the hits are closer together in terms of the timing, right? And if you can time it just right, sometimes you can get a combo off on another player where they can't roll out of the way. I do like how they frost in 2 hits, though. That's nice, tasty damage. Okay, I don't think there's anything else in here, but there might be more ants to come up behind me. And that projectile they shoot is awfully mean. Frozen ants. Frozen chocolate ants. Yeah, angling that is important. And that one dropped a formic rock. Have we looked at a formic rock yet? I think we have. I think we found a handful embedded in the ground in the Seofa River. Rock formed from solidified giant ant venom. Highly acidic material used for crafting items. Found near Ainsel River and other places where the giant ants live. So I think it's interesting that there's a little spot of formic rocks in Seofa, but I don't remember any giant ants there. There might have been, but my memory is fickle. So we can go down... oh, we don't have a map. So we could go down this path. Over here. Yeah. But we don't wanna, because I think there's more interesting stuff on the other path. But this is... these bodies, there's bones indicating maybe the ants have eaten them. And it looks like it's kind of a... almost like a partially clogged artery. You know, all these coffins have slid down the river somehow. And it piled up here along with just an insane amount of bodies. There's flies. It's gross. Maybe the ants don't eat the bodies outright. Maybe they're like human Capri Suns. They just kind of drink the fluids and make just loud, obnoxious sucking sounds as they do so. Like when people have like a centimeter of fluid in the bottom of their styrofoam cup. Alright. There's a lot of ants here. And there's a big honeypot looking ant over there. It's got a huge engorged abdomen. And the funny thing is that if you shoot the weak spot, it does a huge amount of damage, 4,000 money, and then it gives us a high-level golden rune and a rune arc. Let's try out a couple of the sorceries over here. Oh. Carrying Greatsword, I think, combos into a Straight Sword R1. I'm using a Greatsword, so maybe not the best pick. Rude. It seems dark. Like, they have trouble aggroing on me in this tunnel. And to be fair, I have the brightness up pretty high. I also have the character voice volume pretty high, so if you had a hard time hearing character voices in earlier episodes, I hope it's fixed by now. I think I have the levels pretty balanced. I've been tinkering with it a whole lot, and I have, as a consequence, the other game volumes fairly low. Not too low, though. From what I could tell, they were still fairly, well, not too quiet. Like, you know they're there, but they're not hopefully blocking all the other noises And I hope I'm also a good volume. Sometimes I don't find out about things in retrospect. I do my own testing, but it seems like I should probably start shooting for a decibel level and not just what sounds good on my end, since what sounds good on my end can certainly fluctuate. Alright, so here we see that was on the other path over there. That dam over there that's letting some water through. So it looks like more of the Eternal City's architecture. There's an elevator over there, actually, that we haven't taken, that we've completely missed intentionally, and we'll go back for it, don't worry. But it's very ornate. There's some more of those pointed crown statues that we saw, like, in the Church of Vows, where we learned a lot more about Radigan and Renala. And don't you know, claymen. And they have clay daggers now. Not all of them have spears. And there's some more of these palace ruins. Well, dynast ruins is what I should call them. There's another opening over there. Links to nowhere. That's okay. We suspend our disbelief here. And we have more of the dynast prophet. So now we have at least 2 areas of the world. All the way over here. And all the way over here that share those dynast ruins. And even some of the Eternal City ruins, since it seems that wherever there are dynast ruins, there are Eternal City ruins. And we here find a celestial dew. Now these fellows aren't really worth fighting, in my opinion. They're neat and they're fun to fight, especially if you have really good area attack. Like, I could try grouping them up, why not? And this is probably going to go horribly for me. If I had Glintstone Arc, maybe. Maybe. I don't know how much magic damage these boys take. Yeah, see, that does some damage, but... But they're just so tanky. It takes so long to kill them. It's not fun to watch. At least not to me. Ow. There we go. But we've proven we can kill them, and we're probably about to revive them, honestly, because I want to grab the Grace. Nope, I guess that's all of them. So, probably could have been worse. Slapping them one at a time probably would have taken a lot longer. Glintstone Arc probably would have dealt with them. Anyone who has a Faith build and has a Breath attack probably would have wiped them clean in a single breath. Though, I guess Hoarfrost Stomp might have been a little more damage efficient. Hoarfrost Stomp isn't so much for the damage, in my opinion, as it is for the status effect, getting frost off on the enemies. Okay. So we need to pull this part down here. Take some good old sips. I did keep Starlight on the build. And it feels like a flavor spell that I'm probably going to keep for most of the playthrough. I like it. It is kind of provokes in me thoughts of Sieghelm's quest for knowledge. Elucidation, perhaps. So... And I think as Sieghelm lives in the lands between, he loses a little more of his preconceived notions of how the world should need and ought to run, and adopts what's more practical, because he's always been a practical man. So if that's kind of the justification in my mind for why he started using fancier looking weapons, like the Carrion Knight Sword, for instance, which would be to... Sieghelm first getting to the lands between would be far too ornate. But yeah, here we have more of these Eternal City ruins, these whitish blue. They look like Ghost Flame. I don't know if they're actually Ghost Flame. They could be some other flame. And we get all the way down here, and there's yet more coffins that have supposedly spilled down here. Now, the river doesn't look particularly strong to me, but we also don't really understand the passage of time here in the lands between. every time we go and say hello to Hewig, Smith Hewig, for instance, he almost always is asked where we've been. He thought we were dead, almost indicating there's been huge swaths of time. Even though for us, we see him like every half hour, just about, it feels like. Maybe not quite half hour, but we see him routinely. Multiple times in a day if we got a good play session in, right? So, we also know that it seems that some time passes whenever we die. The time of day changes dramatically. And, all the creatures in the world also in lore get to respawn when we sit down in a side grace. Like, all these creatures come back for some reason, right? And we don't know how long that cycle of reincarnation takes. For all we know, every time we warp between graces or die or sit down and rest, we have no clue how much time is passing in reality. Okay. I don't think there's anything worth grabbing here. So, I don't like going down the main path. We're taking yet another side path. So we're going to take this side path over here behind the less worn down Dynast statue. And we're going to find ourselves here. So we're going to see some more ruins. We see some pillars. And as it opens up, we see a horrible galactic earwig monster. Now we are going to deal with promptly. Yeah. I think this is our best bet. 283 versus... Oh. That's similar and faster, maybe. I'll use this for now. But it already starts shooting at us. I recommend going straight up here. Actually, hold on. There's an item on the ledge a lot of people miss, and they get upset when they miss it. So we're going to time this just right. And I hope to get done with the Ainsel River before the end of the episode, actually. There's not a whole lot left. It's a relatively small zone. But here we find 3 level 1 smithing stones. Not that important, but... Ooh, not worth. Even with Quick Step. I could probably get away with it if I Bloodhound Step, which is a step we haven't seen yet. Don't worry about that. That's not real yet. It's not real till I find it. Okay. Here we go. So if you use a movement ability like Quick Step in repetition over and over, it has diminishing returns in terms of distance. Maybe even iframes, I'm not sure, but definitely distance. Chunk. Oh no. Take a big old shot. It's interesting, he's got this skull face, he has pincers like some sort of earwig, or maybe not an earwig, some bug. And then he has, growing out of his skull, I should probably take a look while I have a chance, he has this blue eyeball. Maybe I can get another look at it. Yeah, look, it's got an eye there. That's a good shot. It's certainly a very bizarre creature. I'm taking lots of unnecessary damage for you, fair viewer. Get an eyeful of this hideous monster. Oh, it's so close. Okay, I finished it off with a throwing knife. I'm glad I had the range. Oh, and we get some flasks back. So now we don't have that thing harassing us the whole time we're here. We also get up here. There's a treasure chest up there we can't get to. We won't get to for some time. Which sucks, because I would love to have the item that's in that chest up there. You may not have seen it. Maybe I should point it out a little better. I remember, or I keep reminding myself, I need to take these episodes a little slower than if I was just playing through the game. Yeah, up there's the chest. You can see it glowing a little bit. And to think about why things are, because that's kind of the whole point of it. This isn't just a playthrough. This is supposed to be a lore through. I'm supposed to be talking about the lore of the land. Okay. So we hop down here. There's an item for us to grab. Lots of smithing stones, actually. So coming down here is kind of worth it, honestly. This place and the the mine. The Rea Lucaria Crystal Tunnel. Both good places to hit. I almost always forget about this place and come here late when it's no longer a boon to do so. So don't be me. We have the Ainsel River now. Let's take a look at the item itself, because the maps offer good descriptions most of the time. 2 great rivers flow beneath the lands between. Oh, it has the same description. The Siofra and the Ainsel. This vast region is said to be the grave of civilizations that flourished before the Erd Tree, and we know of at least 2, the Dynast civilization and the Eternal City civilization. Vaguely, we don't know much about them.
Is someone there? A customer? Well, how long has it been?
Yeah, it always spooks me when somebody talks when I have these sound settings, because it's pretty loud for me too. Not like ear splitting, but like a lot louder than the rest of the game. I listen to most everything on relatively low volumes. In my volume mixer, I'll have everything at like 11% or lower. It's not since I started recording for these videos that I've had to adjust those. So let's see what he has to sell. So he has some gravity items. Shard of rock found in the wake of a meteorite strike. It is imbued with a particularly weighty magic. Uses FP to emit a gravitational shockwave. The desperate ones who scavenge for these shards dub themselves Star Callers. So we'll buy like 2 of those. And this one does a gravitational explosion instead of a shockwave, so we'll grab 2 of those as well. And Lost Ashes of War, we always like that. Celestial Dew, we want that. Thaw Frost Bolus and Stimulating Bolus. So I think that's the anti-cold and the anti-sleep boluses. Acid Spray Mist, so we learn how to make a perfume, our first. And he also sells the Prisoner set, which was somebody who was tied to royalty or was royal, who knew some simple sorceries and was thrown to the lands between. So it seems every time we see a starter kit like this, it seems that another Tarnished failed this far in their journey, or somewhere in this area where this merchant stripped his corpse of his goods. I don't even think we have any, I don't think we have any bottles for making spray mist. I don't think we found our first bottle yet, even. Nope, we don't even have 1 bottle, let alone Altus blooms. But we get the recipe down here.
Something else?
Yeah, we can sell things too. Alright, so while I'm thinking about it, let's show off those gravity items. Just cuz. Just because. So the fan is the more useful one. A lot of people like to use this in PvP even if they don't get the scaling from strength and int. Strength int builds being fantastic and having good representation once again. So, Gravity Stone fan fires this little ripple effect. And that's pretty useful. It stumbles people. People can combo certain Ashes of War and weapon strikes with it. And then the Stone Chunk, when it hits a location, detonates after a brief delay. That might do a lot of posture damage, I don't know, but the delay is significant enough that most people can just avoid it in PvP, while the fan kind of ripples outward like a slower Hoarfrost stomp. So. Alright, is there anything else I need to show off? I've intentionally reorganized my inventory, and I forgot what I did. So. I'm tempted to try this, actually. Yeah, let's give this a go. The damage is okay. It's still killing in 2 hits, so it's not a world of difference from the, Great Sword. But it is relatively fast. Ooh, another Clayman's Harpoon. Throw that in the box. Of course it drops when I don't need it to. Alright, I think we're good to skip a lot of these guys. The episode's coming up on a lengthy point, and I want to get to the boss. I was meandering a little too much. Have to strike that balance. Some lots of tasty items. Most of these are just bait, though. They're not, like, they're not fantastic items, you know. They're here to get you to waste your time so that the Clayman can, come and get you. But, I'll need to go look, but I believe a lot of those items were just on bodies, right? And they were probably the bodies of nobles, because that's most bodies in this game are based off of nobles in some capacity. There's a message there. Elden Ring, 50 appraises. Oh no, he grabbed me! Well, I get to show off that animation at least, so thank you, Clayman. I'm showing off a lot of the grab animations. Maybe I'm just bad. I'm probably bad. That's okay. Not that important. The important thing is that you have fun. And I mean it. That sounds cheesy, it sounds corny, but that is so vital. It's like if you're playing PvP, have fun. Concoct goofy stories in your head. And this leads back to the earlier Dynast ruins where we first saw that claimant, so we can see where that connects. We came out over on that ledge over there and went up the ruins and slew the earwig, the celestial earwig monster. Yeah, have fun when you're playing, and concoct goofy stories in your head while you're doing the PvP, so that even when you lose, you feel like you gave them a good fight. Perception is everything. And if you perceive yourself as having a good time, being a good challenge for player characters, you'll be a more memorable invader. Hopefully. Alright. Let's get back to it. We have a little smidge left. I feel like using the Great Epee for now. Why not? I don't really need a shield. Man, it's so fast. Or at least it's fast as far as bigger weapons go. The immunizing horn charm, formic rock, and a lot more smith and stone. It's very worth coming down here. And here we see a little more of the ants' hive, I suppose. I don't know. There's eggs on the walls. Very spooky. We don't know what's laying the eggs. It could have been another honeypot ant. I'm assuming it's supposed to be less a honeypot ant and more of a mother ant, but I don't really know. Let's head here. And here we have basilisks with their big ol' eyes. I think I've shown off basilisks before. They have false eyes. I swear I've shown off their little false eyes before. It's hard to tell when they're whited out like that. Or when it's dark. Goodness me. But yeah, these are big false eyes, and then on the sides of their face, they have their actual eyes. That's what that tiny little dot is near the back row, or the back tooth there. It's hard to see because the creature was pale. Oh, it's not pale anymore. There we go. Now that's more obvious. But yeah, basilisks have been in many of the Souls games. At least 2 of them. I don't know if they showed up in Dark Souls 2. I don't remember them. They probably existed. I've only played through Dark Souls 2 like twice, so... Not an expert on Dark Souls 2. I missed that one. I played the first one a little bit when it came out, not much. And then I really came into the series on the 3rd installment, and then I went back to 1 and really enjoyed it. When my brain was bigger and I could handle it. But here we find a bunch of Aeonian butterflies and a somber smithing stone. And I don't know if we've found Aeonian butterflies before. Oh, probably not. A butterfly with a withered scarlet wings found in the swamps of Aeonia. Material used for crafting items. According to myth, these butterflies were once the wings of the goddess of Rot herself. So another celestial entity. There's a huge amount of those. And we look down here and we see it looks like some more of the Eternal City ruins. But it's in this lake. This red lake. And all the way over there we see some more Dynast ruins. So yet again, wherever there are Dynast ruins, there are probably Eternal City ruins not far. And a huge ceiling full of these crystals jutting downward. It's quite the sight visually. It's very striking. I think it's memorable enough that when you first come here and you see it, you go, "What is this?" And then the funny thing is that we don't go there for a little while, right? But it's so visually apparent that when we go back, that we'll remember it very clearly. We'll go, "Oh, this is the salmon red-colored place." I think that's salmon. I'm here for lore, not color theory. Or really? Come on. There we go. There we go. Nice and frozen. And I like the cold weapons because they use more of my stats. Because I'm not doing a pure physical build, I'm doing a silly hybrid build. What a mistake. Hybrid builds take too many points. Don't do hybrid builds. At least not for your first character. Well, I guess if you're following a build that knows how to do it, you're fine, but you could hybrid just about anything probably safely, except for Faith Int. Those are tough builds, because you're mostly a caster, and getting those spells early on is tough. And there's only like one weapon that scales with both reasonably, so I think you could probably trick a few other two other weapons into doing it, like the Eared Steel Dagger or the the Claimant's Harpoon, not the Murky Sight. That was a different weapon in an earlier game. Yeah, so we come here, and we see more of the Eternal City, and don't you know, they have that false night sky again. And there's this huge giant skeleton, shriveled corpse, rings, nice clothing, old, worn, tattered though. And it's on a big old chair, but the chair has a little archway underneath it, so who was this individual? And of course, everywhere we see these bodies, dried up, various sizes. Are they statues? Are they petrified people? They kind of look like those little helper guys that appear on summon signs and messages on the ground from Bloodborne, honestly. I forget what they're called. Not sure what they're all about, though. We don't have any clues as to why they're here. Okay, I think I'm gonna drink one of these bad boys. And yeah, we're gonna drink one of these bad boys. We're gonna walk forward. We're gonna deal with the consequences. There we are. There's consequences. He's right there. Never really noticed, but he's got 2 jaws at least, if not more. Ooh, I should have rolled again. I hit the wrong button. There we go. And he starts electrifying with white lightning. And he has big old lightning stakes. I should probably show off more of his moves. I'll calm down for the fight. But he does these big aerials. He's got 4 wings that barely work. He's kind of reminiscent of a dragon and a misbegotten. Which we learned that they were malformed thanks to the Dragon Halberd, which I'll probably take another look at since I still have it in my inventory after this fight. The Dragon Halberd also had that white lightning. But still, he's covered in these very nice reds, almost like a royal red. But otherwise he's covered in rags, little plates of armor. Makes me wonder what these guys might have been like in their prime, but it makes me wonder more if they were always malformed. And he gives us the Frozen Lightning Spear. And don't worry, I'll be showing you all the incantations we found across the playthrough once I'm done with the PvP portion on this character. Because there's a quest that, well, it doesn't require PvP, but to be timely, I'm going to do the multiplayer online PvP part of it. And I'll hopefully record 2 or 3 of those invasions, good or bad. So let's take a look at the halberd once more. Halberd shaped like a dragon, enwreathed in both ice and lightning. Alas, the Dragonkin soldiers never attained immortality, and perished as decrepit pale imitations of their skyborn kin. And now let's take a look at that Frozen Lightning Spear, the incantation. Incantation that channels the power of the Dragonkin soldiers. creates a spear of ice lightning and stabs it into the ground from above. On impact, the spear will burst into trails of lightning advancing forwards. The Dragonkin were born in the Eternal City, where they knew no true sky nor true lightning. Instead, ice lightning was their weapon. So it seems that there's the Eternal Cities have something to do with imitation. We don't know quite what. It's just a smidge, an inkling, and we'll learn more in time. But underneath this big old chair is a treasure chest. An Eternal City treasure chest and an orange item. The Great Ghost Glovewort. Which we won't be able to use for some time. But we got enough to get a single ash to +5, right? And then, or of the summon ashes. And then we find this one that gets it to +10, which is max, right? Yeah. So, white flower that blooms in catacombs, a spirit nestled close to this grand specimen. Since times of old, large gloveworts were used to comfort heroic spirits, given in tribute to those who died the most glorious of deaths, in the hope their stories would become legend. So it's to honor somebody grand, heroic, perceived as high in some hierarchy. Makes me wonder if it's for them. The flower this is a grave, maybe. A bizarre grave, a grave unlike those we understand in our world, where the body is hoisted upon this chair for all to see, and for all these people to worship and express their adulation. And the flowers are not presented at the foot of the grave, well, but they're presented underneath in a nice box. But yeah, there's life down here. It's different, but there's life. There's these pale, or not pale, there's these dark, almost obsidian-colored trees with bizarre leaves on it. This might have been a holy place, a sanctified place, as far as the Eternal City is concerned. Very striking, though. Well, that's it for this episode. It went way long. I apologize. I'm bad at this. I'm really bad at this. But thank you for joining me anyways. I'll see you next time for episode 43, where we get to investigate a little outcropping of the Academy Array of Lucaria. Their off-campus site. So we'll do that next time. Thank you, and have a good day.